Everybody, BP okay? Yeah, heart rate okay? Very good. Yes, it's a lower order that saved India the blushes once again, much like the Border Gavaskar Trophy. India win this first one-day international at the Wankhede Stadium by 5 wickets, courtesy a century partnership between guess who? KL Rahul is back to run scoring ways, 75 not out of 91. He came in at number 5 when India were hardly anything for 3, and then he was joined by Rahul Jadeja, who's making a comeback to the ODI side. 191 for 5 with just over 10 overs to go. Zaheer Khan and Dinesh Karthik in company on Cricbuzz Live. Zach, it shouldn't have come to this, but I suppose in a very odd way, this will be a very satisfying win. India were tested, and it's good to see that they crossed the finish line with a very professional display by those two.
They were under pressure with some quality bowling by Mitchell Stark. There's no doubt about it. He set the tone for that defense of Australia. Just defending such a small total was never going to be easy, but he created those opportunities at the top, put Indian team under pressure, and KL stepped up. I think his knock was very crucial at that stage, stitching that partnership with Hardik, and then carrying it on with Ravindra Jadeja with 100-run partnership, which pretty much took Australia out. On the whole, from Australian side, maybe there was that one attacking bowler shot. That's something which the feeling I got. But the whole game, bowlers dominated. The seam bowlers were able to put batters under pressure and created some good contests.
KL Rahul seemed like a man on a certain mission because questions have been asked. I'm sure he isn't oblivious to what's being said about him on Twitter between ex-cricketers, etc. But today he seemed like he was in the zone. He knew he was going to get tested. But after that Stark spell, it looked like he was in control through and through.
Right at the outset, he looked very confident. Just the first ball, the cover drive of Mitchell Stark on a hat-trick. He bowls that beaming going for the Yorker, but just was a little bit more over-pitched. Just the way, the conviction with which he is able to come on the front foot, play Mitchell Stark, and through his innings, must admit that he looked very confident, very steady. He was brilliant with the way he just went about his thing. 75 not out might look after a year's time in different contexts, not a big score, but at the stage that he came in, it was an innings that was needed, where he needed to take time, and then he just blossomed. The one thing that you can never ever say about KL Rahul is that he is not talented. He is somebody who makes shot making look easy. Just after he got to 50, the way he was just able to accelerate the next 25 runs was such a joy to watch. He is one of the few right-handers who is so good looking while batting as well.
7 fours and just that 1 6 of Zampa in this innings of 75 not out. So clearly he didn't allow his ego to control the way he was going to approach this innings. He was steady, he looked in control, perhaps understood his responsibility really well.
And he enjoys this pitch as well.
Yep.
Wankhede, he's got some good memories. He scored a lot of hundreds here, especially in IPL, and generally with batters you've seen. If you enjoy one particular ground, it just kind of gets you in that zone. Today the situation was not easy. When you're 3 down and you're walking into bat with doesn't matter what kind of total you're chasing down, you still got to bring out your A game. You still got to absorb that pressure. Which KL Rahul did brilliantly today. And what's important for me is that he's finished the job. So when you are in this kind of a situation, it's very satisfying when you stay there right till the end and finish the job for your team.
India were 39 for 4 at one stage when it looked like Stark would really run away with this game, and Australia seemed to have the mojo and the momentum. And it's that 44-run partnership between Hardik Pandya and KL Rahul that said, listen, calm down, slow things down, and how crucial it was in the context of the game. Because if that partnership hadn't happened, the next wouldn't have perhaps happened either.
Look, I think when you're in a low scoring chase like this, a lot of the times it's about one big partnership, but you also need two good batters rather to chip in with a nice little partnership, and that's what happened with Hardik and KL Rahul. More than the partnership, I think it was the intent that Hardik showed. Right from the outset, he was very positive. He looked for the boundaries. He kept playing his shots, just the cut shot that he hit off green, just taking on bowlers, getting the boundaries. And that is very important. When you play high quality fast bowling, you need to have intent. That is what separates you from winning the game and losing the game. Because if there is a fast bowler, Zach would explain it very well, at the top of his mark, it's easier to bowl to a batsman who's being meek and who's just waiting for a bad ball. But if there is a batsman who's assertive, who's saying, all right, I'm up for the challenge, throw me anything you got at you. That gives you a better chance of being out there for a longer time and forging a partnership. And that's what happened with Hardik and KL before Hardik got out, and then Jadeja and KL just took the team home after that.
Yes, it does take two to tango, and that partnership with Jadeja really disallowed Australia any further chances. A 108-run partnership. Ravindra Jadeja on his one-day return, 45 of 69. He couldn't have found a better partner. Just very steady, in control, nothing to worry, reassured the crowd as well. That perhaps spelled the jitters during that Stark spell.
He's had a good match, and we did touch upon the fact that Jadeja, the batsman, have evolved over the years, and he's able to thrive on these situations now. He just enjoys these kind of challenges. So when he's out there, you also have that belief that okay, this guy is going to absorb the pressure and then hang in there, and that's something which was very important. And when you have a batsman like KL Rahul at the other end who is going so strong, then you need that kind of assurance. At times you've seen with the other batter, the batter in form at times gets that pressure of getting a move on, and in that process you can lose a wicket as well. So that's something which is not seen now when Jadeja is out there, and that's a really strong point. So the partnership was always going to be the most important one, because when Hardik got out, there was still a lot of runs left in the game. And another wicket there could have really put Indian team under pressure at that stage. To see that phase through, and then again making sure that you are there right till the game is finished.
2019 World Cup, India didn't have a proper number 4. Now we're talking about number 5. KL Rahul at 5. Does that sound good to you? Does that sound like music to your ears? Given that we have a World Cup coming up at home, you need a batsman like this who can perhaps steady the ship if quick wickets fall as well. He can bat very well against the new ball and is a good player of spin as well. So at 5, do you think that is his spot once Rohit comes back up top?
100%. There's no doubt about it. I think even if Rohit comes back, I think KL Rahul's spot for this World Cup is number 5. He's done very well in the recent past as well. He got a 50 against Bangladesh. So he's in form. He's in rhythm. He's making that number 5 his own. Would he like to bat opening? Maybe. But in many ways, it solves a couple of problems. We don't need to go looking for another opener in the team, because right now, with just 15 being picked, sometimes it can be really hard to pick players. But he gives you that flexibility, and he's a terrific batsman to have, because the one thing we are aware is, at the back end of the innings, he can really play shots that anybody else can. And that is a very important aspect of a number 5 batter, and it's great to see him do so well.
188 on the board for Australia, and at the halfway mark, all of us, truth be told, we were having a bit of a giggle saying, you know what, early finish it could have been, courtesy Stark, in favour of Australia. Now, we can't not have Zaheer Khan tell us layer by layer what Stark did right. Where is the magic? Is it in the wrists? Is it in the release? Why is Stark so successful with the new ball bowling under lights?
I think it's a complete package. He's tall, he's decently upright at the crease. Uses his wrist very well, provides that backspin on the ball which helps him with the swing as well, and bowls 140 clicks. So these are all the ingredients which can trouble any batter, and when he's getting that shape through the air, for a right-hander especially, the ball coming back in has been his trademark dismissals. So that's the way he operates. Today, when the team needed it, he was in good rhythm, created those breakthroughs early on. And what was impressive was consistently getting that shape back into the right-hander. I think for a left-armer, if he's able to do that consistently, none of the batters will be settled at any stage. And that was shown right throughout his full quota of overs.
Over the years, there's a list: Wasim Akram, Chaminda Vaas, Trent Bolt, Mohammad Amir, Shaheen Shah Afridi, and now Mitchell Stark. Now, the left armour has troubled India's top order right-hand batsmen. Great bowlers have been troubled. As a batsman, as a right-hander yourself, why is it so difficult to face the ball that comes in from that angle?
Look, I think when you look at a left armour and see his point of release, the general tendency of a batter is to go towards the ball, which would mean your head will follow. And the natural reaction for the body, because the head is the heaviest part of the body, is for your legs to move across as well. This is what happens, and we use this commonly used term called head is falling over. So when you go at the ball, your leg follows it, and if the ball swings late, then it gets very hard for you to pull your leg back. And that's why you see a lot of the right-handers get LBW. And you can ask why certain bowlers are comparatively little easier to play than say a Mitchell Starc or a Shaheen Shah Afridi right now, because it's late swing. The moment it swings from the hand, you're able to pick up the cue early, and then your body aligns itself to comfortably play the ball back to the bowler. But when you see a bowler who has a good release, which means good backspin on the ball, which in turn means a great wrist position, you pick the ball, it feels like it's going on the off stump or fourth stump, so you line up to play that ball. But when the ball moves late, you're caught in no man's land, you have to play across the pad. And that's why a lot of right-handers over a period of time have found it really hard to play left arm medium pace, not only in India but in a lot of places of the world. But the good ones, the Trent Bowles, the Shaheen Shah Afridis, what makes them special is even if they tell you that they're going to bring the ball back, and even Zach will attest to that, even if they tell the batsman, I'm going to bring this ball back into you, and the right-hander is ready for it, if it swings late, it gets very hard to play, because you've committed to playing a shot hoping that the ball wouldn't swing late. The moment it swings late, you end up playing across, and the chances are you'll miss it and hit the stump, or you'll get bowled.
Just to add to that, if it doesn't swing, it's just going to go with the angle, which is going to create that natural outswing for a right-hander. So that's the two things which you're worrying about. If the ball doesn't swing, it can take your edge as well. So you got to sometimes be ready to cover which line, whether you're going to cover the inside line or to cover the outside line. So that is the challenge which a batter has if the bowler is on top and getting the ball to come back in, which is basically means that he's thinking too many things. So he's not going to be aggressive. So that's the advantage, the natural advantage which a left armer has.
Just a little more on Starc. Now, October, November in India, conditions will be relatively cooler as compared to how it is now. It is quite humid at the Wankhede. Does it become easier or tougher once the temperature drops?
Well, it all depends on the conditions. Yes, if there is a temperature drop, you've seen that in decently cold conditions, you will see bowlers extract maximum swing out of those kind of conditions. So yeah, in October, November, you would expect there will be, and especially tropical conditions as well. You will get more swing in humid conditions. So those are the factors which will affect swing bowling for sure. It's up to the bowler how to extract that. But from that point of view, today's game was really good, because after a long time you see like a low scoring game also creating that kind of contest, and bowlers having that edge.
Now, DK, you and I spoke a lot about the art of batsmanship during the Test series when the top order was not doing as well as they were expected to, barring that Rohit 100, Pujara the odd half century as well. In this match as well, once again the top order was troubled by quality swing bowling from Mitchell Starc. These tests, these examinations will continue come the big tournaments. Does the average emotional Indian cricket fan need to worry given what's happened with the top order today?
As a fan, what you need to be worried about is not when quick wickets fall, is if you don't show intent after they fall, which they showed. Look, any team in the world, if there is swing and seam up front with the quality of Starc and many other bowlers in world cricket, will get you the odd wicket or two, sometimes three in the first 10 overs. But what matters after that is how you react as a batting unit post that. If you are going to be thinking as an Indian fan that it's not going to happen to India, then you're probably fooling yourself. It is bound to happen. What is the key is how we react to it once that happens. Are we going to be positive, or are we going to be going into a shell because it's a big game and not play the shots that we are used to playing within our game plan? That will be the big difference. And for me, that is how we need to look at this Indian batting lineup, because right now they are going all guns blazing because they believe that it is in their DNA to play shots, and they're doing it. And that is the same mantra that will give them success in the World Cup events as well. Because in a must-win game, the chances of you backing that should be even more. In many ways, make it second nature. But if you're going to react differently to it as soon as you see 2 or 3 wickets fall, then it's probably not going to help us.
We've got a similar question, a question along the same lines on hashtag Ask Cricbuzz Live, and I'll try and get Zaheer Khan to give us the bowler's perspective on what batsmen do against left arm seamers. You've troubled a lot of batsmen. It's coming from Sauradeep Roy. Thanks, Sauradeep, for that question. We saw it in the Test series as well. We saw it today. India's top order failing when there's help on the pitch. Something to be concerned about. DK has already answered that question. But have you seen batsmen do something different? Yes, people talk about opening up the stance, but how about standing outside the crease?
Yeah, there are different methods players do try. It depends on where your comfort lies. It depends on what kind of technique you are, whether you are a predominantly front foot player or a back foot player. I think the front foot players prefer to open the stance a little bit more, so that they have that more access to see the ball. Maybe play late and keep the front leg out of it, so that you negate that leg before wicket. If you are a predominantly back foot player, then you wouldn't want to do that. You still would look to play the ball as late as possible. So you got to hold your shape as well. So these are the key pointers which they keep close eye on, or maybe practice before they face any particular bowler who has troubled that particular batsman. But these are the methods which usually you follow. You got to understand what works in your favor, and what kind of style you have, and how comfortable you are with applying these methods. As a coaching group, you would always see these kind of conversations. But end of the day, as a player, you got to figure out where your comfort level lies, and how you can get that confidence of making that change as well. Because at times it's hard for a batter to just suddenly change something. So you got to factor in all these kind of things before you before you come to a concrete decision making on that.
Australia gave themselves a chance. Mitchell Starc gave Australia a chance to defend what seemed indefensible on a track that was considered great to bat on. Where did Australia go wrong? Should Mitchell Starc have continued after that 6-over mark? They took him off after a while.
I think bowling a 6-over spell in this heat
Expecting
is
too
very
much.
good. Yes, I think it is a good spell, and that's what you can expect from the bowler. Sean Abbott came and applied pressure, but this white kookaburra ball after 14-15 overs, which basically means when you have two new balls at different ends, your 8-over, 10-over ball, by the time it gets to about 20 overs, which is 10 overs each, you will feel the seam has just gone down a little bit. Generally, it's protruding when it's new, but as the game progresses, it just goes into the leather a lot more. It stops moving as much, and that's what happened. After that, you would expect the spinners to come on and use the help. Generally, when a wicket seams, it also will provide turn. But in this case, Zampa is not a big turner of the ball, bowled much fuller. We saw Maxwell get some turn, but he didn't bowl enough overs because he came at the back end of the game. So you would expect your one-change bowler to come and follow through, which exactly didn't go to plan today.
Mitchell Starc, the only strike bowler really. And would it be safe to say, Zach, that they did everything they could with this kind of bowling group? Only Mitchell Starc, no Pat Cummins, no Josh Hazlewood.
Absolutely, they made the match out of it. When you look at the first innings mark, you could feel that they are 50-60 runs short. Even though the wicket is playing the way it is playing, they had actually done the tough work. You look at the Indian team's batting, the damage was done with the new ball. That wasn't the case in Australia's case. They actually had seen that tough phase. They've scored some 120 runs in the first 20 overs. So you would expect from that kind of a platform to come to a 250, 270 kind of a total, which their batters failed to do. I think the lack of application from 120 getting all out for 188 tells you the kind of story they had throughout the day, especially with the bat in hand. They did a decent comeback, created that pressure early on, but 188 was never going to be that easy for them to defend.
Ravindra Jadeja, once again, great comeback in this format as well. And today is perhaps another example, another story that tells us how important this guy is in India's World Cup plans.
Very true. I think the 2 wickets that he got were very, very useful. But more importantly, under pressure, when the team needed him to stitch up a 108-run partnership with KL Rahul is phenomenal to watch. From the moment he's come back into the Indian team, both the test matches, the first 2, he got a man of the match. And again, under pressure here, he's done well. So he is one of those players who's very key to India's success. And we genuinely hope that he keeps his form going and does really well for India in the World Cup.
Right, India 1-0 up in this 3 ODI series. It wasn't an easy win. They were tested. And in a way, Zach, they'll be happy that they were tested, right? You do want to win on a canter. Yes, you want to win big. But if you keep the World Cup in mind, if you juxtapose that, you want to be tested in these conditions.
Yes, you are going to have tough days and you're going to have good days. I think what matters is how you find a way of winning a match from any kind of situation. So you got to be prepared for that. And from that point of view, you thought that it is going to be an easy game once the Australia innings was over, because of the kind of start Australia had. You thought that wicket is not going to be that difficult to bat on, and India should be able to go and get these runs comfortably. But when some good bowling was on display and created those kind of issues, today you found a way of absorbing pressure and then managing to win the match. And that's the kind of things you expect from a good team. So it's about building on these kind of things. It's about building that confidence of different individuals stepping up at different times and making sure that you continue with that kind of belief and approach. If you are able to do that, and if that is the process you are following, then you will see some good results.
The second ODI between the top two ODI teams in the world, India, Australia, will be played at Vishakhapatnam, the beautiful city on the coast of India. Second ODI, that's where India will go in with a 1-0 lead. Now, I've been told that it's once again going to be a pitch which promises a ton of runs. It's a small ground, short boundaries. I'm not too sure if spinners will be too keen to bowl. But Rohit Sharma comes back in as captain. One obvious change, Rohit comes in for Ishan.
Yeah, I think that will be the obvious change. Rohit comes in for Ishan Kishan. Other than that, unless they want to give one of the fast bowlers a break, because we're playing in just with a day's gap, which would mean the workload is slightly high. So if they want to give a break to either Shami or Siraj, that could be the only change that I could think of.
Umran Malik for you, Zach?
I think that one change which we discussed is likely going to be the change which you will see. They will not tinker too much. You've seen that that one process usually is followed. They've secured a win as well. Shami has bowled a brilliant spell today, so I don't think they will be looking at resting him. And you look at that batting lineup of Australia. They bat deep, so you would want to put out your best resources out there to give yourself the best chance of winning.
How do India do better with the bat, especially the top order? Given what's happened today, they would have sown seeds of, I'm not sure if doubt is the right word, but they will make the Indian top order think. What are the lessons for that top order?
I think the lesson would be the fact that if there is a left-armer who is bowling so well, you can't change much of what happened with a Virat or a Surya. It just happened in haste and it happened because of high-quality bowling. But the one dismissal that would be looked at is Shubman Gill. Should he have played that shot because that was the fifth over that Stark was bowling? Would he have probably stopped bowling after that spell because a couple of overs prior to that, no wickets had fallen. So that is something tactical. So the tactical side of it is what you can change in between games, especially the one-day turnaround. You can't change things too much around the technical side of it. And that is what Team India will look to do. But they would also know a guy who's got 1,000 runs from the start of the year is bound to play shots which comes to him naturally.
From Ishan Kishan's point of view, it's a reality that he's got to face. The captain comes back and it's obvious he would get dropped. Well, what's the message for him? And how should the team management manage Ishan Kishan's mindset?
The message is simple. The message is just about, just wait for your opportunities and be ready for them. The question is like, if he had scored a 50 or a 70 today, he still would have been sitting out in the next game, right? Yeah. So I think, that's the reality of the situation. And that's something which he has to be ready for. And that's the role of the management around the team as well, to have that transparency in communication, because that's what we have seen with him. We've seen that him scoring that big 200 in Bangladesh and then coming back and not being part of the playing 11. So that is something which a conscious decision which the management has made for the team. So you just got to be mindful of that and make sure that you do everything possible to be in that good zone, manage your emotions, and keep doing things which are in your control.
Yes, and you guys were in control of a question that was asked to you during the pre-show. You could have Googled, you could have called Mr. Joy Bhattacharya, DM'd him on Twitter if he follows you. Have you managed to find an answer? No? Alright, okay, no worries. We'll make it easy for you. Here's the question, and what's the answer? I'll tell you. I've been told by my producer. I didn't do any research. I'm a bit lazy sometimes. Here's the question that was asked to you on Joy Factor. If Harry Brook has the highest test aggregate after batting for 9 innings, who holds the record after 10 test innings? I know that Zach and DK don't know the answer either. Let's just try. If I can give you guys a clue. Mumbai. A player from Mumbai.
I know the answer. Vinod Kamli.
Ah! The producer told you, did he?
I read it.
Ah, well done. Zach is as much an
in his room and I read it.
Vinod Kamli, those 2 double hunters at the start of his career, one against England, then against Zimbabwe, and then 100 as well. So Vinod Kamli, DK, today we learnt something new, like we always do on Joy Factor. Right, let's now talk about Australia. It's a loss that'll be a bit hard to digest. Not enough runs on the board. DK, just 188. Assuming David Warner comes back in, what do you do with the lineup?
If David Warner comes back in, now that is a tough call. I think where are they going to slot Mitchell Marsh? Is he going to bat lower down the order? You do get the feeling if David Warner comes back in, Mitchell Marsh might have to miss out. And that's the beauty of it. He is where Ishan Kishan is probably because Head has done well over a period of time. Smith is their nominated number 3. Manas Labuschagne has done well at number 4. So you do get the feeling Mitchell Marsh will probably miss out. But what they would also look at is how many all-rounders do they need? Did they underbowl anybody? Do they need to probably fit in an extra bowler? Nathan Ellis and Lance Morris, do they need to look at one of them?
Mitchell Marsh has done all right. Would it be perhaps better to give Labuschagne a break if Warner comes in?
Maybe, that's something which the adjustment they'll have to do, which means they might have to reshuffle the batting order again anyways. If Warner comes and bats at 1 or 2, then you'll have to think of Mitchell Marsh batting at number 3, which we've seen in T20 format, but whether they will do it in the longish format or no, that's something which we have to wait and see. But that's the only change. I think they will try to fit in Warner if he's fit.
A win at the Wankhede in the first ODI means that India are halfway through to a journey which could give them their 6th consecutive series win at the start of 2023. Beat Sri Lanka in 2 formats, beat New Zealand in 2 formats, won the Border Gavaskar Trophy 2-1 as well. 2 more matches to go. Hardik Pandya as captain has done half the job before Rohit Sharma comes in. Is number 6 on the cards?
Number 6 what?
Series number 6 on the cards. 6 series win.
I thought you were talking about the batting order.
No.
I was like, you're again going to change the batting order.
6 series win for India at the start of 2023.
Of course, I think the start has been good. It's about winning one more match and securing the series in the next match itself.
Good signs, DK?
Very good, very ominous signs. You put under pressure, you find a way to win. So India will go home with a lot of confidence. Vizag will be another venue which has been very good to India. So Wankhede is actually a venue which probably hasn't supported India, but going into Vizag, they will go in with a lot of confidence.
Before we say goodbye, we've got to say congratulations to the winner of this Joy Factor question. It had to be a Bengali. They know answers to all these questions. Tanmay Chakraborty, well done on getting that answer right. Joy will have to do a little bit better to give us tougher questions. Make us work harder here in the studio while we were busy having, what is it, Panki, Sevpuri? No? Let's not discuss food.
GK the expert.
GK the food expert. He's busy on the Hindi show with Ajay Jadeja and Parthiv Patel. But we've had fun. Thanks DK. Thanks Zaheer Bhai for a fun chat. We'll be back for the pre-game show of the second ODI. That's day after on the 19th. Do join us at 1 p.m. on Cricbuzz Live. For now, it's goodbye and good night from all of us.